Today's Daf Friday is Daf Yud, and we're middle learning the idea of Palgin and Zebura. We accept what we can accept from your testimony, and the part that you cannot, we just dismiss. As long as you're there with somebody else, you have two adim. So the Gemara continues, about 5 lines from the top of the page. Rava says, this and this person had a relationship with a woman who was engaged, but you don't nominate the woman who was engaged. Now, both of them, if you did nominate, and there were 2 witnesses, would be chayiv skila, because a woman who's engaged and commits adultery, they're both chayiv skila. But turned out to be bohuzmu, the edim that he brought were found to be liars, so whatever they tried to do happens to them. Neherogin, they get killed because they tried to kill this person, but they don't have to pay money. They were trying to make this woman forfeit her ksuba, not the full ksuba, but the toivas hano, the benefit that she could have had at the time of selling the ksuba. That's something that you tried to take away from her, because we don't know who the her is. You never nominated the woman, so there's only misa here, no money. But if you nominate bita shaplani v'huzmu, you mention the name of the girl, and then they were found to be liars. They weren't there at the time, so we know we punish them. What they've endeavored to do is Neharagin, they get killed. They get killed because they tried to kill the man and the woman. And a Mishalman Mammon. In this case, they pay money, even though yesterday we learned they don't pay money if after he married her, because there the ksuba goes to the woman. And we know that when you try to give 2 punishments resulting from one action, come labor the rabba b'nei, you give the stricter one. But here, there are 2 different crimes that you're trying to do. Because she was merely engaged, any ksuba that she would have received or any benefit from the ksuba would have gone to her father. So you're trying to punish them, the girl and the man, and you're also trying to take away money from the father. So therefore, they didn't get both punishments. Money is for the father, and the fashas are for the girl and the man that you try to kill. That person over here had committed bestiality with a cow, but you didn't nominate the cow. Normally, you would kill the cow of the person. They're huzmu, and they were found to be liars. They weren't even there at the time. Now, again, we will kill them. We'll kill these false witnesses, but they don't pay money because they didn't nominate which show you were trying to kill. But if you say shaydosh or pliny, you nominate the cow as well. But who's new? Now, again, they get both punishment. They get killed trying to kill the man who was committing bestiality, and they were trying to kill the sheriff for losing money for the owner of the sheriff. Says the Gemara, well, the principle is exactly the same as the case of the Nair Marasa. So Gemara asks, Hasu Lamali, why do you have to repeat? The principle is the same. Isn't it the same? Says Gemara, no. Because actually, this is a sort of an introduction as a preface to the question that Rav is about to ask, where the cow belongs to you. The person was my shayr mao. What's it? Me amrin, and do we say Adam Karav Eitzel Atzmai, if it's about his own shayr, since a person is related only to himself, we don't believe him. But ain't Adam Karav Eitzel Amainai. But a person is not related to his money, so therefore we will separate we will we believe everything that you said, and we will kill them and everything else, and charge them money for trying to kill Yishai. But or we say Adam Karavetz, or do we say that a person is also close to the money and they cannot testify by the money, so we'll divide it in half, and all they try to do is kill that person. He resolved it. Adam Karavetz Atzmai. Adam You're not related to your money, and therefore we believe him when it comes to money as well. Regarding the cow, says the Gemara. Okay, so back to the Gemara. Malchus Bishleisha, it says in the Mishnah that Malchus, you have 3 judges, according to one opinion, the other one's for 23. How do you know? I'm going to they should judge them. Shnayim, that's in plural. It says there'll be a dispute amongst people, and you'll bring them to a court case with Shvatum, and you will find righteous, the Tzaddik is a Tzaddik, Vishes a Rasha. You'll find the Tzaddik righteous and the Rasha incriminate him. Then Bezer Shakal, since 2 is an odd number, you add one more, how do you cancellation? Total of 3. Ask the Gemara Me'ata, following your logic. Let's continue the pasuk. Then we had this Diku and they, which is another, seems like another 2 judges, Shnayim, and then it says we hear she or another 2 judges, the Shnayim, it's a total of 6. And then you have an odd number, how do you Shiva, a total of 7. So you know, those two words, Vizdiko Vishi, we need for another drush altogether. We need Kedula for Ulas din. How do you know Aiden Zaymin get punished not trader? What asks, how do you know? Rem is Aiden Zaymin, is it a hint? An illusion will see it says a pasik. You should do to them, Kashazam what they want to do to their brother. How do you know Aiden Zaymin? We cannot give them the punishment. The based on Aleph and Makkah, we're going to learn. If two Aiden come in and say that this person is a Ben Chalutza or a Ben Grusha, he's a son of a divorcee, and if he's a Chalul, turns out to be that it's not true. They were liars. They never saw that nor that. What do we do to these Adim? We cannot, even if they were Kainim, if they're not Kainim for sure, we cannot make them Chalalim. And even if they were Kainim, when you make him a Chalal, you're also punishing the children. It says Loi, and not to his children. So what do? We give them Malchus. How do you know you give them Malchus? It's not Kasha Zama. It's not what they intended to do. Because it says, that's how we learn that. It says, Vitzdik is a tzaddik. You should find the right person righteous. The Yeshia is a Russian, incriminate the bad person. And it sounds like we're talking about you incriminate the bad person. You've been hackers in Russia. So what's the relevancy of Vitzdik and tzaddik? Just say, if the person was found in Russia, you give him Malchus. Why does it say Vitzdik is a tzaddik? So we learn from here, it's extra. What's the relevancy that other guy's innocent? The main thing is you're guilty and therefore you get punished. Is obviously we're not talking about the defendant, we're talking about the witnesses themselves. If the witnesses themselves came along and found someone guilty, and then it turned out to be that the witnesses themselves were the Rishayim, not that other person. So the original people are now, I guess, once again considered tzaddikim. Vitzdik is a tzaddik. The first Adim, the second Adim came along and said, you know, the lies, whatever it is. We bring him along and say the first ones are considered not righteous. The second one now, Rishi is a Rasha. And what do you do in a case where there's no kasha zamam? We will give them malchus. But shun Vitzdik is a tzaddik, Rishi is a Rasha. When you being hacked as a Rasha, what's the relevance? Vitzdik is a tzaddik. We're talking about Adim, she was a tzaddik. Come along, Adim, and say that this tzaddik is a Russian. They come along a second pair of Adim and mazim them. Vitzdika is a tzaddik, so they make that the person actually really is innocent. The Mikora, Vishavin, the original person. Vishavin allowed to show him, and they turn these Adim to show him. You've been hackers at Russia, give them Malchus. Says the Gemara of a taper, why don't we just learn out of Loisana? You're not allowed to lie. You're not allowed to lie, and these Adim lied. Get Malchus because of that. That's not good enough. It's a lab with no action. But lab where there's no action, you don't get malchus. So why would these Adim get malchus? We have the possibility. Big machek is Rishayim, places of Makkah's Klibus and many places. So what exactly? Why are you getting malchus? There's two ways of learning pshat. One is because it's tzaddik is a tzaddik, and it's tzaddik is a tzaddik comes to tell you that this is also considered kasha zama. The other way of learning is no. You're actually getting malchus because loisana. Loisana is a lav she'ein by ma'isa. There's no action. You should get malchus. Comes Vitzdik is a tzaddik and tells you that in this case is an exception that these Adim will be punished, but not from Vitzdik is a tzaddik but rather from loisana. That this is an exception, even though it's a lav she'ein by ma'isa, they'll get punished. And what's the difference between the two? The difference is this a din in Hazamah or this is a separate Malchus altogether? By Adim Zaymin, the rule is you don't have to warn the Adim before they testify, because since they tried to find an innocent person guilty, the original Adim, and there was no warning, obviously, so then to punish them, you don't have to warn them either, because that's what they tried to do. But otherwise, every other Aveda needs a Hasra. So if you learn it's a din in kasha zamam, the Adim don't need warning. But if you're going to tell me in a case where two Adim come forward and they say, hey, this guy is a Ben Gerusha, we have to warn them, because if you learn from Vitzdika, if you learn from Loisana, it's a separate Aveda together. Don't lie. You have to warn them. Be sure you're not lying. And that's one of the differences. Think about it further. 23. By the way, there's a big machlekes in the Shirashim of the Rambam, between the Rambam and the Bahag. The Bahag counts certain Averis as Mahat Torah, even though the Gemara uses the word Remez. And the Rambam says whenever it says Remez, it's not really Mahat Torah. And the old question the Rambam from this Gemara right here, it says Remez to Adim Zayim. This is definitely Mahat Torah. Why does he say it says Remez and yet we know it's Mahat Torah? The Rambam himself ruled that this is Mahat Torah, that if Adim come and say this person is the son of a divorcee. So someone is saying, maybe this is different. The Rambam is talking about when you talk about an Aveira, is this Mahat Torah with the Rabban? If the Torah uses it like Remez, like how do you know that you're not allowed to have Yichud? You're not allowed to be alone with a woman. And the Gemara says that Remez, then a Kedushin, and so on. Then the Rambam says it's with the Rabbanan, and Bahag says Mahat Torah. Here we're not talking about the Aveira, we're talking about the punishment for the Aveira. That the Rambam says remez is once we establish the Aveda is Ma'atayra, that even though we say remez, the punishment is also Ma'atayra, so it might be different. Okay, the other Rabbi Shmuel says 23. My time, Rabbi Shmuel, why 23? Abaye says Asya, Russia. We learn out Gzeira Shava, the word Russia and the word Russia, Mechayav, misses, because when it comes to describe one of the capital punishments, it says the word Russia. What's the story? Here it says, it says, Russia. You should what? You should smite the Russia. And it says elsewhere that he's a Russia. You shouldn't take blood money from somebody who's a murderer because he's a Russia Lamus, and there, of course, is a capital punishment. Is Malahala Be'esm capital punishment 23? I've come to 23. Rava says, I don't know, never heard of Gzeira Shava, and you can't make up your own. So he says, it's a logical thing. Malkas b'makam misa medis. As Rashi explains, Taisa gives two other explanations, but he's not happy with them. He likes Rashi's better, so we'll stay with Rashi. Rashi explains that every Aveda you do, you deserve to be killed. You go and you define HaKadosh Baruch, you're betraying the Eibishter. But the Eibishter had Rachmanis, and he said, you can have Malkus. So Malkus is b'makam misa, as if he's supposed to die. If you tell me that Malchus and Misa is the same thing, we say if a person is weak, and the doctors say he can only take a certain amount of Malchus, even though it's not 39, we'll give them the lesser amount because he might die. Who cares if Malchus is this substitute of Misa? If he dies, he dies. If so, why do you need to measure? Let's give him the lashes. If he dies, he dies. Who cares? Malchus is a form of death. It says another pasuk. It says, you should despise your brother in your eyes. He should be, cheapened for his behavior. So we said clearly that what he should sulachicha even after you give the malchus. So when you give a lash, it should be a living person. So you can't say, oh, let him die, because if he dies, he's dead. So the whole time we learned Amdullah Kabel Esim. Let's say we measure. They did in lots of three because you do one malchus in front and two malchus lashes in the back, the ending of malchus. So you the multiples of three. If you can only take 20, we'll give him 18. Now if you can only take 20, give him the 21st. So when you gave the 21st lash, he was still alive. He dies right after that. Who cares what happens afterwards? As long as he gave the lashes, the Nikla Chicha, you should give the lashes to the brother, while he's alive. So he did it. Says the Gemara. The Kabbalah Esim. So if you do the Kabbalah, you can only measure 20. The real establish only in multiple 3. The Kabbalah time is 18. So the question is, so I don't understand. Someone asks a question. Give him 21, so he's still alive and he got the 21st. If he dies afterwards, let him die. When you hit him, you hit someone who was alive. Amalei said to him, I'm across the positive that what? That even after you've given the lashes, we need a chichabina, we need a soul to be alive. The leka, we don't have that. Then the Mishnah continued, Ibur ha-chodesh. Now, a chodesh can be 29 days, can be 30. In reality, it's 29 and a half days and a bit that the moon, every moon comes up. And we know that we learn more. You're not allowed to have more than 8 months that are full months, and you cannot have less than 4 months that are full months, anywhere in between. And so you have a short month, 29 days. You have a full month, chodesh ibur, like a leap month, which is 30 days. And the Mishnah says, Ibur ha-chodesh b'shleisha. Sounds like a leap month with 3. It says Chishuv like Tani. You have to make calculations whether you should have a extra day or not. Should it be a 30-day month, right? As I mentioned, Kiddush like Tani. It doesn't say calculations. It doesn't say Kiddush. It doesn't say to declare that this is a 29-day month, 30 month. It doesn't say that either. So what does it say? It says Ele Ibur. It says in the Mishnah that what that you the Ma'aber the Shana. That what the leap year? What about it? So you want to ask a question. Why? Don't do anything. Don't be mekadesh the month on the 30th day. Come day 31. Obviously, this is a shchaydik. Or we made a labit, and then that's naturally it is the 30 days, a full month. Learn the Mishnah as if it says kiddush hachaydish. Learn the Mishnah as if it says Kiddush HaChodesh, when you Mekadesh the Chodesh, whatever day it is, 29 days, it's a 29-day month or a 30-day month, you declare as Chodesh, that's when you do it. Tanya, we learn Kiddush HaChodesh, the Shleish is clearly, Kiddush HaChodesh is 3. Omar Rabba says, Rabba, But Ibur Tani says Rava, it says Ibur. Why you tell me Kiddush? A mission is making a mistake when it meant Kiddush and use the word Ibur. Elam Rava. Rava comes along and gives a different explanation. We'll have a few. Rava says Kiddush. This is how it works. Kiddush b'yayim Ibur. You know when we need a bezin of three? If you're going to be Mekadosh, Mishnah Ibur, in a day that you're supposed to be Ma'aben, on the 30th day, if you would have had a leap year, you would have had one more day. On that day, if you make Rosh Chodesh, day number 30, that's when the bezin has to declare. And the day number 30 goes by, and you didn't, then you do, then it's automatically 31. Says the Gemara, Bishloisha. That's when you three bezin. Achani like a kiddush, but the 31st day you don't have to. Umani, this follows the view of Rabbi Tzaddik, the time of Rabbi Tzaddik going, but even loy need a bezmani if the moon was not seen at the right time. Ain't mekadosh. There's no point in mekadosh. Shekvar kitchu b'shamayim. You're already mekadosh in heaven. You're already mekadosh in heaven, which Traces explains according to Rashi that not like those who want to say that Abish is always Mekadosh the Chodesh. What it means is that the Bezdin on the 30th day waits to see what the Bezdin Shulamata does. And when they see that the 30th day Bezdin Shulamata, Bezdin below, did not sanctify the Chodesh, so they know automatically that the next day will be a Chodesh. So in the morning, they're already Mekadosh, first thing in the morning. So there's no point to Bezdin Shulamata to be Mekadosh. But Bezdin Shulamata will not determine if it's 29 or 30. It's up to the Bezdin Shulamata. Rav Nachman says, Kiddush achar ibur b'shleisha. Rav Nachman says that Kiddush, this is what you learn, that the Kiddush after ibur, when it says ibur chodesh, then you do nothing. But when do you have three? If it's a day after, no, day number 30, you don't Mekadosh, day number 31, that's when you have to be Mekadosh, declare Rosh Chodesh, because that naturally Rosh Chodesh, you have to determine it's Rosh Chodesh. Exactly the opposite of what we said before. But even like a kiddush, umani, who's that of you? Play me, Tanya, play me. This man, it for the chaydish falls out at its right time. The 30 day make kachin oisa, because that's a natural state. But the labor's mana, if you want to add a day, make kachin oisa, then you have to add. Then you have to bezin has to declare that it is rosh chaydish. Says the Gemara. Rashi gives another explanation. We're talking about calculations of my ibur, chishuk the ibur. When you calculate whether you should have a 30-day month or not. No, but Kiddush, you never have to declare it's Chodesh. Whether day number 30 or 31, you don't have to, Bezdin have to officially get up and say, Kiddush HaChodesh, those words, Kiddush HaChodesh. But what do you have to do? You need a Bezdin of 3 to, when you make your calculations, whether it should be a mole, a full month, or a chasser, or a diminished, or a reduced month. And because we use that wording, when it comes to a leap year to decide whether we have an extra month, in Kiddush Chodesh like. Who holds that you're not mekadosh the Chodesh at all, whether it's day number 30 or 31? Mani, that's Rabbi Lezer. Tanya, that's Rabbi Lezer. Another view. Rabbi Lezer says, "Bein bizmane, bein shlem bizmane, ein mekadosh noisa. You're not mekadosh at all." Remember, it says, "V'kidashtem eishnas chamishim shana," that the 50th year Yovel, that's when you sanctify it. So we dashin shani after mekadosh. You're mekadosh only years. The after mekadosh, but you're not mekadosh chadashim months. Shimon says, you start out with 3, then you work your way to 5, and then 7. What's going on? Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, what's this idea of starting with 3 and then 5? And what are these phases that we're talking about? Now we're talking about making an ibiyah. So when you make a leap year, you start out with 3, then you work your way to 5, and then 7. What's going on? Says the Gemara, Tanya, we learn case of you start out with 3 to decide whether you should even sit down and have a discussion. And once you have a majority who make a decision, yes, we should have a discussion, then 5 people deliberate, you follow majority. And once the majority says, then you conclude with 7 and you declare it's a leap year. Like Mark spells it out. One guy says this, we should sit down and have discussions. There's no point. We don't need to. Then we follow majority. 2 say we should sit down. You add another 2. Then we have a debate. If 2 people say we need, so if 2 people say, if 3 people say you don't need, then that's it. It's the end of story, end of discussion. But 3 say we need to make a leap year. And 2 people say you don't. You add another 2. You always have a minimum of 7. What's this idea starting with 3, 5, 7? What do you have 3? Is an argument. One with him, that's Rav Shimon Pazi. The others say it was Rav Shimon Pazi who was with him. Now, if you see from here how the Gemara is so particular not only knowing the names, but knowing the order of the names. Who was first? Was Abitzcha bar Nachmani first, and then someone with the Shimon Pazi, or was Shimon Pazi first and Nachmani? That's how careful the Gemara was in memorizing every detail. Chadama one says, you know why 357? Keneged Birchas Kohanim. Birchas Kohanim broken up 357. So the idea is that, as some of the Shem explained, the idea is that just like the Eibishter, when he gives us brachas, he doesn't want to give us all the brachas in one heap. He wants to divide it into three, make it more chashuv, 357. So too, when we do the leap year, so too that we should divide it into three groups and not just have one total amount of 7. It makes it more chashuv if it's 3 than 5 than 7. Almost I know 3. When it comes to the monarchs, have sometimes have 3 guards, 5 and 7, and because this is the covenant of the Eibishter, so therefore we also have 3 and 5 and 7. What do you have 3, 5, and 7? Is like this. You have by one of the kings, the Yiddish kings. You have 3 by those who watch the guard by Tzidkiyahu, and Chamish B'Reipen Melech and Shiva Reipen Melech. Rashi holds that Shiva Reipen Melech is not Tzidkiyahu anymore. This is talking about Israel, and this is talking about Achashverosh. Taisus says no, we wouldn't learn from Goyim. It's talking about some Jewish king. Rabbi Yisrael learned Hanish, the same thing. Hanish loisha chamish shiva, loisha gnei mesach, 3 for shem mesach. Chamish rei pnei melech, 5 rei pnei melech, and shiva rei pnei melech. I'm like Rabbi Yisrael. I had to eat in my time of the Parish Lamar. Why didn't you tell us till now? He said to them, I didn't know you guys need it. Did you ever ask me a question I didn't answer you? And from here you learn out that don't take anything for granted. If you don't know, ask. And just because your teacher hasn't told you till now doesn't mean he doesn't know. He thinks that you know already. And don't be bashful. We'll stop over here and we'll continue tomorrow.